Welcome to Bulletproof Women, a podcast dedicated to all the strong women in our lives. Throughout history, we've known this to be a man's world. Nothing could be done without a man's stamp of approval in some way. They were the strong and impenetrable ones, and we hit a glass ceiling. But now, we're creating a new history for our future generations, where we women are stronger, smarter, bolder, and louder than we have ever been, proving time and time again that we can do so much more. Now, we women are also an impenetrable force of nature. We are becoming bulletproof. Hi everyone. Welcome to Bulletproof Women. I'm your host Gwen. We consider ourselves citizens of a modern world with a modern outlook and modern lifestyle choices. Outdated ideas of fashion and women's lifestyle have no place in today's world. Or that's what we all hope for, at least. But sometimes the modern world fails us. And there are those who feel like they've been thrown back into those dark ages where just being themselves is considered taboo. Those who feel this most are the LGBTQ community. Although social movements to accept people from all walks of life is nothing new, from the homophile movement that began in the late 1940s that emphasized love over sex, they began soon after World War II with groups in the Netherlands and Denmark, and continued through the 1950s and 60s with groups in Sweden, Norway, the US, France, Britain, and elsewhere. They continued all the way to the LGBTQ community in our present day, who are celebrated with pride parades every year. Sadly, there are still many parts of the modern world where people are treated unfairly and ridiculed for who they are. I was curious to know what was their experience in this scary world, being confused and alone. Or, what do you do when the people you love judge you, just because of who you are? What is it like to want to shout your reality from the top of the mountains and fear the backlash that you could possibly face? Today, I'd like to shed light on this topic, where even to this day a person's gender identity or sexual orientation is looked upon with confusion, reluctance, and in some unfortunate cases, disdain. You will hear the story today about a true experience of someone I know quite well. However, she agreed to speak about her life experience only with the promise that I keep her anonymous. So for the purpose of her privacy, the names and some details of the story have been changed to protect her identity. This is the story of Suzanne, a 24-year-old bisexual woman who lives in a society that frowns upon women and men who are open and true to their own sexual orientation. Suzanne grew up in a middle-class family. The second of two children, she was always given the freedom in her youth to explore and understand everything in life. Her parents never held her back. Exploring her curiosity became something of a personality trait for Suzanne. As she grew up and her own reality began to get confusing, Suzanne found the world of cinema to be a welcome escape from reality.
Hi, I'm Suzanne, a 25-year-old bisexual woman. Since my childhood, I've always enjoyed challenging the norms of society. Hence, I made the decision of becoming a cinematographer, director. As a child, I enjoyed my films even more when I was able to watch how it all happened. So, all the behind the scenes, the long night shoots, the outdoor locations. The dream is to someday be big enough in the industry where I can make a difference for all the women aspiring to be great in a male-dominant industry. It's a slow process, yet a process just the same, and I'm happy to be a part of that for now.
So from an early age in her teen years, Suzanne knew exactly where she wanted her career to be within the next decade. Being a part of an industry that covers reality with a colorful bandage and makes everyone smile only made more sense to her. But as she grew up, reality finally did break through. Everything around her pushed her to the understanding that what she was feeling wasn't supposed to be spoken of. So when different thoughts and ideas came up about her gender and sexuality, Suzanne wasn't sure if this time she was allowed to explore them or not.
I love my family, no doubt, but growing up in an Orthodox Roman Catholic family wasn't the best environment for me to be comfortable enough to even speak of such a matter. Things would only go downhill from there, and I would have been asked to pray to be cured of my sexuality. I gave it a hard pass.
As the years went by, Suzanne felt more and more isolated in her bubble. Speaking about it even to the people she trusted the most never felt like the right time, or in some cases, didn't give her the answers that she was looking for. So I asked Suzanne, how did it feel when she finally accepted it for herself? When did it happen? And what went through her mind when she decided to no longer hide behind society's veil?
When I first realized it, after falling in love with a woman for the first time, it was an amazing feeling. I felt privileged, really, to learn that I have a totally different perspective of this world that we live in. My elder cousin sister was the first one I had come out to. She was the one person I was sure of not being judged by, and she responded in just the way I expected her to respond, which was great. And I felt accepted and loved and cherished for exactly who I am.
Although she had that small success, Suzanne still wasn't confident about speaking her reality to anyone else. Bullying and name-calling just for her actions only solidified her understanding that her small but social world was in no way ready to know her truth. Finally, at the age of 18, Suzanne found a small piece of solace on her lonely side of the boat.
Honestly, it was the first time I was bullied in high school for having too much affection towards my friends. It was weird to be called a lesbian just because I was emotionally connected to all my people. I wrapped my head around the sad reality of the human mind and moved on. When I finally hit puberty and went to college, I started dating men, and as an experiment, it felt good. Experiment because college was all about conquering my dreams and focusing on my career. Things got a lot more interesting when I came to my second year. The time I fell in love with my best friend. That is when I knew for sure I was attracted to both the genders.
So finally, it was out. Suzanne had officially accepted herself in her heart, and she was in peace with her gender identity as being bisexual. Her next challenge now, the biggest one yet, was coming out to her family. I asked Suzanne about how that conversation went. Given that I knew the family values that Suzanne grew up with, I knew this would have been a difficult time that she would have had to face. The sad thing was, Suzanne had to face it alone.
I very recently came out to my parents, and I must say their first reaction took me by complete surprise. For the first time in my life, I felt pure love and support from them with no sort of judgment or negative feedback. It was surprising because this wasn't the case with many of my decisions in life. It slowly faded away, but I kind of understood where they were coming from. So I'm letting them be just as they are, just as they decided to let me be. My sibling, on the other hand, was pretty taken aback by it. He promised to love me forever, but till date, he makes it a point to tell me that I should choose to be with men since I do have a choice, considering I am bisexual. I genuinely don't have the capacity to explain to him that that's just not how it works. I am giving him his time too. So maybe he can get comfortable and come to terms with my sexual identity and who I am in his own time.
With nothing holding her back anymore, Suzanne's life has reached a delicate balance of acceptance and restraint, where her family will accept her as long as she restrains herself from going public with her lifestyle.
I have come a long way from that and don't plan on having any regrets in the future either. I am happy in a relationship with a genuine human being at the moment. I wish to someday not worry about what my parents think merely because they care so much about what the society thinks. Honestly, I feel like the only way to do that would be by independently living my life. Just settled enough for no one to question me or my choices.
Today, Suzanne is in a happy relationship with someone she trusts. She's still not sure how her extended family will react to her gender declarations, but for now, she's willing to hold on to her secret until she's comfortable to let it go. I asked Suzanne what she's learned so far from being pushed back into the closet after trying so much to come out. What has made her bulletproof from this whole experience?
At the end of the day, I realized that the only person we have after all is no one but ourselves. We as individuals can only pick ourselves up because the world won't care unless there's a motive. So my advice to anyone who's going through what I've been through would be to stay honest to yourself and never ever stop loving yourself because of your orientation or because of any struggle that you may be going through that you believe that you won't be able to deal with. If we grow in a society where we're taught to respect a certain set of people, why can't we use it to respect ourselves too? Individuality is really all we've got. So yeah, that's me. That makes me bulletproof.
I'd like to thank Suzanne for taking the time to share her experience with us. I truly hope that she soon realizes that she's stronger than she thinks she is, and she's able to share her secret with the rest of the world and boldly face all the negativity around her and still come out on top. If you have any questions or words of encouragement for Suzanne, you can email them to bulletproofwomenpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to the latest episode of Bulletproof Women. I'm your host, Gwen. A new episode will be out once every 2 to 4 weeks. If you have any feedback or you have a story or experience to share, send an email to bulletproofwomenpodcast@gmail.com. So stay tuned for more. And remember, you are bulletproof too.